Hello, everybody out in the universe that is t- tuning into this. I am Shannon O'Hara, and I am the founder of Talk to the Entities. Some of you guys might know me, some of you guys might not. Nobody on my staff knows that I'm doing this live right now. I don't know if any of them are going to hop on or see this. I wanted to do something creative and spontaneous for Talk to the Entities without having to organize a bunch of people. So my husband just helped me get on this. Hey babe, is there any way I can see comments or questions that come in?
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions for me, I am totally open right now. I am basically doing this live for Talk to the Entities. So whatever that looks like, I might see your guys' questions. I might not, because I'm trying to get my husband to organize. We're on StreamYard and I'm not the tech savvy person here. Now I see some stuff. Hello guys. So if you guys do have any questions, probably gonna be here for 20 minutes, just being present and stepping up for Talk to the Entities.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Okay, I can only see, good morning, Elena from England. I'm also in England right now. I can only see the questions on Facebook. Sorry, so that's my husband just told me. Hello. So if you're just tuning in, it is Monday morning in England, and I wanted to connect with Talk to the Entities and show up for Talk to the Entities in this moment. So I am also sitting at the kitchen table because somehow my office is always the kitchen table. So I truly am practicing the housewife entrepreneurial spirit. So if you hear the dishwasher, which is on, that is in fact a dishwasher. If you hear some teenagers making breakfast, that might happen too, because consciousness includes everything, including the lives that we live all around us. So I'm Shannon O'Hara. I am the founder of Talk to the Entities, and I'm just popping on here to say hi to you guys. And I wonder what the next 20 minutes for Talk to the Entities could be. So if you don't know what Talk to the Entities is an Access Consciousness specialty class that I created probably over the last 16 years, due to the fact that I'm one of those people that hears voices, and it turned out to be entities. And Talk to the Entities is the title of my first book. It is the title of a class in Access Consciousness. And it is all of the tools, processes, questions, and information that I gleaned over the years working directly with my father, Gary Douglas, who is the founder and creator of Access Consciousness, and that I found and gleaned by myself by talking to entities and figuring out how that worked without going crazy. So if you have done some Talk to the Entities, yay. And if you haven't, I invite you to a totally different world of possibility where the motto of Talk to the Entities is the inclusion of all beings and the judgment of none. You might be one of those people that's sort of always seen things moving out of the corner of your eye that nobody else could see, or heard voices, or had awareness of entities that you didn't know how to deal with because no one ever taught you how to deal with it. In fact, they told you you're wrong, you're crazy, stop. So we can tend to live in a non-entity awareness positive world, depending on the culture you're from. It's an interesting phenomenon since Talk to the Entities is a global multinational corporation. We deal with all sorts of different cultures and ethnicities. We have over 140 Talk to the Entities facilitators worldwide. I think that we speak altogether over 25 languages. I might be overestimating that, but it would be somewhere close to that. And so there's a really wide range of representation of different cultural spirit consciousness or lack of spirit consciousness information. So I'm Shannon O'Hara. If you're just tuning in, hello, everybody. I just am hopping on here like really spontaneously to do a energy expression for Talk to the Entities. Talk to the Entities is an Access Consciousness specialty class that facilitates and changes our realities around talking to ghosts, being aware of spirits. How do we handle it when we're aware of it? How do we not let it, how do we not go crazy being aware of entities? So essentially, my journey of Talk to the Entities was one of recognizing in my early 20s that I was super aware of entities with my father's help. Like, I didn't really get it at first. I thought there was something wrong with me. And he kept on being like, honey, are you aware of entities? Are you aware of entities? So I grew up in that kind of a household where, it was okay to talk about ghosts. In fact, my father is like an extremely progressive consciousness seeker himself. So there was a lot of that going on. And eventually I had to kind of begrudgingly come to admit to myself that, yeah, I was in fact aware of entities. And this was in my early 20s, and I tried to avoid it for as long as I could. Do any of you guys have any of you guys been trying to avoid acknowledging that you're aware of entities due to the fact that you just simply like, it's like, what are you avoiding? Are you avoiding being weird? Are you avoiding having to deal with entities? Could you be perhaps avoiding actually having an impact on or changing the world by offering your gift, by receiving from entities, by cooperating with entities? And for me, that was a huge part of it. It's like you know, I had no reference point for what including entities and awareness of entities could be. Like, frankly, it doesn't exist. You get these like most of the information that any of us really get about entities, usually, if we're honest, comes from horror movies. That's like where we see it represented the most. And that's just this horribly terrifying place where like entity information is hugely distorted. So it's sort of like no wonder that none of us really have a clue about what including entities could look like and be like in the world. So fast forward to today, it's like, let's see, 16, 17 years down the track of saying yes to Talk to the Entities. I believe that the world has really changed, and that like people's attitudes around entities, like when you bring it up, it's less of there is still resistance, but there's like a lot less resistance than there used to be. And of course, it depends on what culture you live in, because like if you're from, North America, you don't even believe that entities exist. If you're from India or Indonesia or China, it's like you do believe in entities, but you're not really given any tools to talk to them or include them or clear them or handle them in any way. In fact, you're given this like whole structural set of superstitions that creates a huge amount of control in your world around entities. So Talk to the Entities is essentially the progressive facilitation system to change your reality around entities. It's like all of the stuff you bought from everybody else around entities. Is it true? Or was it just their point of view? And if you didn't have to buy other people's points of view, what would be possible for you? And so what I discovered was possible for me with entities was, number one, I realized that like there's a lot of entities in the world. And as soon as I kind of got over that being weird, I realized we are really surrounded by entities in all sorts of different ways, not just like in creepy ways. There's also these like really cool spirits that exist, like nature spirits and beings who accompany us through our lifetimes, who desire to support us. And there's beings of light, and there's all these like cool entities that participate in consciousness that most of us completely ignore. But when we begin to include them, can be add this incredible richness to our lives and to the world. And yes, then there are, of course, the annoying spirits and the demons and the rude spirits that have no manners, that just want to barge into your bedroom at night and talk to you because, they have no manners. But one of the things that I really tell people right up front about entities to like dissuade them of all their superstitions is that entities are a lot like people. Just because somebody loses their body doesn't magically delete their personality. If somebody was an asshole in life, they might tend to be that way without a body too. So when you remove this sort of like all powerful, omnipotent projection onto entities, that it's like, how many of you guys believe that entities are sort of like super or special or greater than you or bigger than you or more powerful than you? And is that true? Or is that superstition that you bought throughout your lifetimes or sold or told throughout your lifetimes that has nothing to do with creating a cooperative relationship with the spirit world? So everything that all of this brings up and all of the points of view that you've bought about entities, all of the projections and expectations and superstitions that you sold and told about entities that just like aren't really true, they're just for a point of view, will you destroy and uncreate all of it and destructure all of the structure you created around the spirit world to either shut the spirits out or to make you more cool or to control other people, because entity stuff has been used throughout the millennia as a huge form of control. I mean, religion is sort of like the number one perpetrator of like using an entity called God to control you totally through your life. Like, you better follow the rules, because if you don't, judgment day, God's going to judge you. So there's this entity that exists outside of you that's supposed to be more powerful than you, that knows all your secrets, and that has the power to like make or break your existence. Is that really true? Or is that just this super archaic form of control that's really extorted the spirit world to somebody's advantage? And has it been to your advantage or has it been to your disadvantage? And I believe, I posit, I put forward that talking to entities, seeing entities, including entities, cooperating with spirits has been so blacklisted from society because those that talk to entities are harder to control. It's like, if you don't, if you are talking to your deceased relatives, if they've crossed over and you have a relationship with them still and you are aware of what they're experiencing, could you be controlled by the lie that the day that you die, like, your existence is going to end and you better behave yourself because, you're going to go to heaven or hell? Once you really start talking to entities, you realize that there is this massive variation of possibility that occurs. And it isn't so much about heaven or hell or being judged, it's all about choice, just like life. Life is all about choice, and so is your afterlife. It's all about choice. And so the entities that choose, you know, to reincarnate. The entities who refuse to choose because they were horrible at choosing in life and they won't choose, they are horrible at choosing in the afterlife. They tend to just sort of like hang around stuck because they were stuck in life. And that's where the tools of talk to the entities come into place. Is they not only do they facilitate us on this side to clear our points of view and release our what blocks and stops us around entities, it also facilitates the entities to have a different choice, to have more possibility. So if you're just tuning in, I am Shannon O'Hara. I am the creator, founder, and freedom rider of Talk to the Entities. I'm just hopping on to do this like super spontaneous impromptu Facebook Live for Talk to the Entities, and just sort of talk about some of the stuff that I actually don't really talk about with Talk to Entities very much. I have, I started out being the only Talk to the Entities facilitator, and now there are over 150 Talk to the Entities facilitators worldwide. So there's a lot of other people out there really championing the tools of talk to the entities. And I so seldom really show up in the general public to talk to the entities or to facilitate an introduction. I guess this is sort of like an introduction to talk to the entities a little bit with me, but also like just getting to talk about the stuff that I guess I miss talking about. Um, so if you're just tuning in here, this is for Talk to the Entities. If you are curious and talk to the Entities at all, and you don't know like where to go, please check out the Talk to the Entities website. It's just talktotheentities.com. There's the book titled Talk to the Entities, which is my first book, which is essentially my story of growing up till about age 29, being aware of ghosts. So it really takes this progression of like a baby and into being, a child, and then into adolescence, and then being a teenager, and then into being a young adult, aware of ghosts, and sort of like the journey I went on with that. I really, really strongly recommend, if any of you guys even have an inkling that you're aware of entities or have curiosity about about that universe at all, like please, 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 find that book, check out that book. Maybe someone can put some links for the Talk to the Entities books. I see Kujbu's, maybe Kujbu, could you put some links? I don't know where you are. It might be on Facebook, it might be on Instagram, it might be on YouTube, but essentially I think it says talktotheentities.com/books, maybe. Yeah. And could you guys imagine what a world that included all beings and judged none would be like? How much more magic there would be? So every choice that you ever made in any lifetime, or anything that you contributed to or bought into, sorry, my stepdaughter's calling me. I'm like, I was saying I'm just gonna hang up on my, I was saying at the beginning of this, I'm like living the true entrepreneurial housewife archetype this morning. I'm sitting at the kitchen table, my stepkids are calling me. They don't know I'm doing the live, because how would they? Because this is totally spontaneous. Anything that any of you guys did, contributed to, or bought into, reacted to, aligned and agreed with, made real and true, that allowed you to separate from the spirit world, will you destroy and uncreate all that? And everywhere that you believe that like entities are scary, or you were told that entities were scary, or you didn't know how to handle them, like I cannot tell you guys enough how far from the truth that actually is. It's like the motto is like, the better you are at dealing with people, the better you are at dealing with entities. So like it's really, this isn't like this really needs to come out of the dark ages and into the future of possibility and consciousness. Um, how could somebody sent in a question, how can I create more ease with the body awareness with entities? Well, how to create more ease with any awareness with the inclusion of entities is to, number one, stop resisting awareness. It's like, how much pain do you create due to a resistance of information or reacting to awareness? So it's like all of the reactive realities that you have to entities, we destroy and create all those. And all of the needs of reacting to all entity realities that you bought from anybody in any lifetime, will you destroy and uncreate all that? It's like, were you allowed to be aware of entities as a little kid? Now, some of you guys, it might not have ever been talked about in your households. And so it's sort of like you're not really sure if you were allowed to or not, because it was like never brought up. But it was like, was there this against awareness of entities attitude that you grew up around? And it's like, how many of your guys' parents had entity awareness gifts that they totally resisted and then taught you how to resist your entity awareness gifts too. So is the lack of ease that you have with your body or around your body when you're aware of entities, is it even yours? So everything you've made real and true for you, that makes awareness of entities difficult for you, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Yeah, cool. So I see some Louise King is saying, I've just literally was just thumbing through my beginning manual earlier this morning. Oh yeah, that's right. So if you there's classes. If you want to learn how to do this stuff, really set yourself free, please check out the Talk to the Entities beginning classes. There's a manual that, if I may be so bold as to say, it is literally the A to Z's of everything you will ever need on how to set yourself free from the fear, the pain, the upset, the resistance, the confusion, and the insanity around your awareness of entities. And then it starts teaching you how to actually participate and clear entities, recognize the kinds of entities you're dealing with. It really changes the psychic landscape of reality. So yeah, Louise is saying game changer for me. Game changer for me too. Talk to Entities was a huge game changer for me because I was one of those teenagers that heard voices and tried to be normal and really fucked myself up with it beyond. And I was really suicidal. And it was sort of like Gary really kind of tricked me into talking to entities and opening up to that. And it created such a huge psychological difference for me that literally I would have died without it. So if you are one of those people that is aware of entities or doesn't even realize that you're aware of entities, but maybe thinks you might be aware of entities, you're aware of entities. And that's not wrong. Repeat after me. I'm aware of ghosts, and that's okay. There are ghosts in the world, and that's okay. I am different in my awareness, and you're okay. What would it take for the world to change its point of view? But more importantly, what's it going to take for you to support you in your points of view, rather than make you wrong, reject your awareness, try to get away from what makes you different? Because if you talk to entities, what if talking to entities is actually more normal than not talking to entities? So what if everything that you think is wrong about you is actually what's strong about you? It's fun to see you guys who are catching me live because I didn't tell anybody that I was doing this. I sort of just woke up this morning and I was like, I miss Talk to the Entities. I was like, what can I do? I was like, I should do a class. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do a live right now. So you never know when you might catch me going live. I'm gonna be inviting, this is a newsflash to all my staff and all the Talk to the Entities facilitators. Nobody knows about this yet, but I'm gonna be inviting a different Talk to the Entities facilitator to go live on the Talk to the Entities accounts, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook once a week for a while, because there's a lot of facilitators, just to share their, stories of change, to share their favorite tools, to really present the ethos and the digestibility of Talk to the Entities. Hello, everybody out there. I love seeing you guys chiming in. Thank you so much for even being in the world that allows me to cross your path. This has been a real treat. I think I've been on for about 24 minutes. I'm probably going to start wrapping it up soon, but yeah, this was really fun for me to get to talk about entities in the way that I want to talk about entities. And yeah, what would a world that included all beings and judged none be like? And everything that doesn't allow you to contribute to that possibility, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Oh, here, let me leave you with a cool tool. No, I'm going to leave you with two cool tools. One's more like an awareness and one's a tool. The first one is about awareness and fear. How many of you guys automatically go to fear or do a lot of fear around entity stuff? So, newsflash, you're not actually afraid. You're more powerful than you're comfortable with. What if every time that you have fear, it's actually a distraction from the power and the potency that you're capable of? So that's tool one. So like you're not afraid. You're fucking scary. Don't be scary. Don't be scared. Be scary. Number two tool is every time that you invalidate your awareness, like when you like have a dream about a relative who's passed away, or you like you you actually are aware of a ghost, but you like invalidate yourself or make yourself wrong. Like the myriad of infinitely diverse ways in which our awareness of entities can happen. It's like every time that you point being here, every time like you make yourself wrong about that, like, oh, I'm just making that up, or oh, I must be wrong, or I'm crazy, or that can't be real or true, like that, you actually diminish your strength for awareness and consciousness. Every time you acknowledge your awareness, even if you don't know what to do with it yet, like if you have a dream about a deceased relative, or you hear a voice, or you walk into a room and you just know there's a presence there, or you get woken up in the middle of the night by an entity, like how many of you guys get that one? Or you hear a door, go funny in the other room. It's like, don't be scared, be scary, be strong, not wrong. And acknowledge like, okay, cool. So I had a dream about my uncle. I wonder if he's talking to me. Or, yeah, I totally felt that weird vibe when I was walking down the street. I wonder if that was an entity. Cool. Like, what if I am aware of entities, even if I don't know how to totally handle it yet? I have to acknowledge that, like, I am aware. Oh, acknowledging awareness then builds your strength for your consciousness muscles. Acknowledging awareness. Because you don't have to know how to handle all entity stuff right now, but one of the things that you can do for yourself that's totally free is acknowledge that you are aware. And that totally changes your psychic capacities, your psychic energetic frequencies, and it even changes the world, because every time you invalidate you, it's like hurting a part of your being. Every time that you acknowledge you, even if you're not like, if you didn't have to prove it to anybody, if only you needed to know for you, what could you have? What is real and true for you that you might not claim, own, or acknowledge because you can't share it with other people? And one of the things I say is consciousness is not a group sport, and talking to entities is definitely not a group sport. You cannot expect others to see what you see, to get what you get, or to know what is real and true for you. But you can get what you get. You can see what you see. And you can acknowledge what's real and true for you. That's for free. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in and showing up for this impromptu Talk to the Entities live. There's just one little quick thing that got sent in here I'll address before we finish today. I hear whispers of my children's voices calling me, but when I check in with them, they did call me. Oh, I don't know if she wrote that correctly. Crap, I don't know what she means by what she wrote. Uh-oh. Oh, well. I hope to see you guys soon. I'll probably do like a formal Talk to Entities introduction sometime soon, just because this was like so much fun. Or maybe I'll just do more lives, but we need a little bit of like, I want to get your guys' questions and stuff. So anyways, appreciate you guys. Have an amazing Monday. Don't forget, don't be scared. Be scary. Bye, guys.